About 6 months ago, your name and your number get retired to the rafters of this building. Now, that night was special, and the anticipation was special.
Yes.
But now that you keep coming back here to seeing your name up there, does it sit differently?
No, I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm not going to lie. Right next to Patty's. But, yeah, I bring the kids every once in a while to games, and it sure looks nice up there.
And I think, Patty, as your kids get older, they were here that night. They understood that night what it meant. But maybe more as they get older, the realization of, wow, that's my dad's name up there. That's our family name up there and his number. And obviously next to the big fella, too.
Yeah, definitely. I got some older kids compared to Jumbo. But, yeah, they're all playing hockey. They're all boys. And, when they come to the game, my little guy, gives me a little poke and points up at it. So he knows what's going on.
You both played for different teams near the ends of your careers, but now you're here back living in the South Bay. Patty, why come back? And I know there's opportunity here and the Sharks are here. Was that part of it? Was there a certain reason why you came back? You didn't have to.
Yeah. No, it's it's always been home. I've played here for so long, and you get to know the community, you get to know the people, and we built a house here. My wife's from the area, and kids' friends are here. So I mean, everything was here, so it was a no-brainer for us to come back, and being able to help out with the Sharks too is an added bonus, and it's fun to be home now and chase the kids around.
I know Jumbo goes back to the farm. I thought he was going to stay out on the farm. I didn't know he was coming back out to California.
Canada's way too cold for me. No, I prefer it right here. I played a couple years away from the Sharks at the end, but I always kind of knew that I was going to come back here and have retirement here. I love the Bay Area. I love the Sharks. I love the weather, and it's a good mix for me.
History repeats itself sometimes in weird ways. The Sharks have two young players that just had their rookie seasons, Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith. Did you know those two players respectively lived at the Thornton house and the Marleau house this past season? Can I start it like this? I just got a couple questions, and now that they're done, right? Have they moved out, by the way? Season's over? They're done? Okay. Did the conversation happen with you and your wives? Did the Sharks approach you with this idea? Was this your guys' idea? Where did this start? It's a great idea. You guys fostered two young players.
I think Mike Greer might have asked us, wasn't it, Patty? Or,
I don't know if they bypassed us and went
straight to the wives.
I don't know if they did that or not.
That's the most important part. I get that. I'm living that life too.
Yeah, there definitely was a discussion, I think.
And I think like, sure. Yeah. Come on in.
I mean, you already obviously have your own children. Yeah. Was this like adding another child to the house?
I think it was, but I think it was great for our family. I mean, Landon, our oldest, he was gone, so it actually, same number of people, minus one. Yeah. But no, we loved having him there, and he's a great kid, and Sharks' future is looking super good. So
yeah. Hey, having a billet family, if you're not familiar with what that is, you're living at a host family of the market you play in. That happens at a lot of lower levels of hockey, but at the NHL, Joe, like what was the experience like of having somebody on the Sharks, a team that you played for, living at your house, and was there some good advice shared back and forth?
He just to be around that young energy, it makes you feel young, and we would talk a little hockey, but it was just more, laughing, get our mind off of sports. I think that's important for young players, just to kind of get your mind off of it. But we just really had a super year. Macklin fit right into the family, just like Will fit right into the Marleaus. They're just two really, really good young boys.
Opening night, I was sitting in the alumni box, and your wife leans over and goes, watch Patty when Will's out there. What do you mean? He's like on the edge of his seat. It's like Will's already one of his sons. This was opening night. So, I mean, not that you weren't watching the team anyway, but you probably felt invested in Will Smith's season this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a dad almost.
Yeah, it got definitely got our family back more involved in it and everything. And then, those two are pretty inseparable. So Mac was over quite a bit of the time, and I know Will was over at Joe's house as well, and playing board games and things like that. So it was just fun. We had their family over for Thanksgiving, so
a true big family event.
It was great.
You know, I imagine in this room there's a lot of people that are very successful in what they do in the business world. You guys never showed up to an office for your jobs. You showed up to a dressing room.
Yeah.
It was very different. Clothing was optional, especially on this side of the podium. Giggles. I'm just curious, Joe. I'll start with you on this. When you look back at what made both of you good, I guess there's two parts of it, and it's obviously some natural ability that you were born with, but hard work was a part of it too. What do you think is the breakdown of what put you in a position to have as good a career you did? Were you born with something, or was it all hard work, or what's the combo?
No, I just loved the sport at such a young age, and I'm sure I can speak for Patty too. It just, for boys in Canada, that's what you want to be. You want to be a hockey player, and it had me at like 4 years old. So I was done after that.
So I'm gonna say hard work was part of that. You ingrained yourself in every day at the rink and practicing when you didn't need to.
I never realized it was hard work. I was just enjoying
doing
it
what
every
you
day.
liked.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't work, because I loved playing hockey. If I wasn't on the ice, I was playing road hockey. I just always had a stick in my hand.
His answer better be instinct, because nobody skates like that.
Yes.
Nobody's taught to skate like that. What do you think? The breakdown of instinct versus hard work.
I think there's. We've talked about this before. I think there's something that great players have, and it's their mental capacity to see the game, to see how players are going to develop, and that's what Joe was so great at, and I was a beneficiary of so many times in the slot.
Yeah.
But it was like the more I get to look back on my career now, you just you realize how special guys like Jumbo were when they played, because I see highlights now. We were at a face-off, and he's like looking at me. He's like, move a little bit that way.
He already knew what was going to happen.
Like, okay. Yeah. And then 3 seconds later, puck's on my stick, and we end up scoring. So it's just there is a God-given talent, but I have to echo the other point Joe made was it was never work. It was always it was just playing and having fun. Even when I was in the weight room, it might have seemed like work, but the goal was to play. So it was I had to do this so I could play and be good.
You're both retired now for several seasons. I say retired, but I'm out at San Jose Barracuda practice, and there's Patrick Marleau and there's Joe Thornton, and you guys are still out there doing your thing. Loosely retired. It's not like you're just on the beach every day. What's the hardest part about disconnecting from a career, Joe, that has you like on train tracks the entire time? You know what your schedule is going to be. You generally know what team you're on. And all of a sudden, when you're done playing hockey, you're still a train, but the tracks go away. What's the hardest part about that?
It was a little bit tough for me, but I played so long. I was like, this is enough. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, this is good. And then I had I got to a good routine early. An old teammate, Devin Setaguchi, who we played here with, he had like a gym, so I was hitting the gym every morning at like 8:30, so I kept like a routine. And, I still have the routine. I go on the ice, sometimes with the boys, but I kind of hammered in a routine early on, and I've stuck with it.
So it kind of keeps your purpose going and your routine.
Yeah, but, I like to travel a little bit more now. I like to golf a little bit more, so you'd think I have a lot of free time, but really I don't.
You don't like somebody trying to throw a hip check at you in open ice, right?
At least
you don't have to deal with that
anymore. No.
And your teeth are fixed once again, too. So now we got to keep those.
I was just telling Brodie, I just got a new pair of teeth. So I'm hoping this is the last pair ever. Yeah.
See, I relate to most of you out there. This is stuff I can't imagine in my personal life.
Yeah.
If I got a scratch on my face at work, I would call in sick the next couple of days. Patty, how about you in disconnecting from a career that, again, for you was all hockey all the time? And it still is. It's a different thing, but what's the hardest part about it? I don't think enough people respect what happens when the career's over and how you go about what's next.
The hardest part is learning how to be an adult, I guess. And then trying to pick up the slack for my wife around the house. Because when I played, I had really no idea how much work she was putting in. Now I have a whole new appreciation for it, and but it keeps me busy, keeps me occupied, and it's hard to find some free time. Actually, my buddies tell me like, "Oh, now you're retired, you can come hang out and go golfing." And I'm like, then I never do. So they're like, well, "You're the busiest retired guy I know." So
I want to talk a little bit about the culture of hockey. And again, there are so many intricate things about it that make it, the best sport in the world, at least in my opinion. One of the things, though, that I'm not sure about, Joe, is hockey players playing through injury and the secret nature of injuries. There was a season, we could say this now, you broke your finger, I think, and you did all the interviews that year, I think, with your hand behind your back.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want anybody to see it swollen or know.
Right.
Every injury is so secretive, but to that extent, there's so many players because it's a pride thing that you want to play through anything that you can. What is that?
Yeah, it's really, really weird. I don't know, but it just
It's what you do, though.
Yeah, like
Right.
you got a broken toe. There's no question you're going to play. There's broken fingers. Broken nose. It's just no question you're going to play. The brotherhood that you have in the locker room amongst hockey players is you really don't want to let the other guy down. So you want to, you'll try to play through everything just to help, your buddy out, and that's how the culture is.
I felt bad, Patty, as a media person covering the team all those years. And sometimes you'd find out, hey, he's got an ankle issue and he's playing through it. And then sometimes there would be a criticism of, well, he doesn't look the same out there. Well, yeah, because if you really knew what was going on, I always felt that veil of secrecy was really hard on the player to have to shoulder that when they knew what they were going through,
Yeah, actually, when you put it that way, it especially like during playoffs, that's when you keep everything on their wraps. But you can pretty much look out at any game, and I think the only time you're 100% is first day of training camp.
Like, 10 guys on their team are hurt, and 10 of your guys are hurt, and it's just, that's how it is.
Yeah, you're always, whether it's a bruise or something that's nagging, pulled muscles. I mean, you're always working on something. You're always trying to do recovery and getting ready for that next game.
Here's another one. Show of hands. How many of us have had just a bad day at work, right? I mean, come on. That's everybody. Could you
But in our bad days, we get to fight somebody.
Okay, so there's that.
Right, Brodie? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, I wasn't going to go there, but I do.
It happens sometimes.
So at least you could take it out on somebody. But here's another crazy part. You have a rough day at the office, Jumbo, and after practice or after the game, in comes Brazil and his microphone, and we got to hear about. We need you to talk about that now.
Yeah.
I think most of you can understand what I'm getting at here. I've had a bad day. You know what I want to do? Get in the car and go home and just try and my family help them have me readjust. It's so crazy that is part of the job. But it was part of the job for a hockey player. How did you handle those tough situations? Both captains, you both did that.
You just do it. You just you don't want to talk right after games. You kind of want to enjoy the moment with the guys, or if it's a bad game, just kind of cheer each other up. But it's just something you have to do, and it only takes 6 minutes. So do it, and then go enjoy the win, or
get it over with ASAP. And I mean, Patty, look, out of the two gentlemen here, obviously Jumbo's a man of more words, right? That's just the nature of it. But Patty did that job for a long time, especially being the captain. And how did you handle it in those situations?
I was just kind of it's what you do. It's part of the job description. But to talk on your point a little bit too, I was thinking, Will's staying at my place, Max at his place, and then here they are. We're playing board games with them. They're just having a good old time, and then same thing. Like they get scored on late in a game, or they score an OT winner, and they're right there. They're on the mic. They're just. But these kids are fresh out of high school almost, and yet they're on this big stage.